I know this video is important, and here's how I know it. I've tried to record it 3 times now, and each time I start, I think I have everything in place, do not disturb, mute, all of that. Pop-up blockers got me this time, because all of a sudden, once one comes on the screen, everything stops. I'm going to do this video, come hell or high water, because this one is important. Here's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about walking in your truth. So here's my truth. When I first moved to New Mexico in 2007, I was leaving the metropolis of New York City, and I had lived through 9/11 and 3 days of a brownout. I just felt uncomfortable in that city, and I knew it was time for me to go, but I didn't know where I was going to go. And at the time, I was producing an album with another gentleman who wanted to use this string instrumentalist who lived in Taos. And we flew out of New York City and went to Albuquerque, where I am now. And the ride from Albuquerque to Taos was the moment I knew this was the place I needed to live next. I'm not saying I'm finished moving, but I knew I needed to be here instead of New York City. So I left my life behind in New York City, and I had a decent life. I was semi-homeless, and it's amazing the standard of living you will accept to still be in that city. And it wasn't until I was here in the desert that I said, you know what, I could live a little better than I'm living. And so I made the decision to move. Now at the time, I was just going to move to Taos, and I was going to live in the Earthship, which is this way of living off the grid. And I was going to be happy. But, finances kept me from doing that at that time, and I had to find a job. And I didn't have a car, and I was living in a very isolated place. So I chose Albuquerque because it was near the airport. It was near the University of New Mexico at the time. Where I was looking to live, and this spot that I'm in right now is where I moved back in 2007. Same location 12 years later. I did work for UNM for a brief moment, but it was a temp assignment. But it was a temp assignment that started out only being like 8 weeks that turned into 4 months. So I was grateful for that. But the day that assignment was over, I was walking home and I saw a TV on the side of the road. Someone was moving for sale. Bought the TV. This is an old TV, the heavy ones with the big tube in the back. Walked home sweating like I had lost my mind. Plugged in the TV, rabbit ears. I got one station and I decided to listen to the news because I had never really paid attention to Albuquerque. I didn't know where I lived. On the news that day, they had the announcement of Albuquerque Studios opening, that Hollywood was coming to Albuquerque. And the first movie they were mounting was this movie called The Spirit. And it was starring Samuel L. Jackson and Scarlett Johansson. And I thought, this can't be true. Because I had just done the work on Freedom Land in New York City before I had moved. So here I was in the right place at the right time, but I needed to get to the people who were hiring. The lady at that time who had the casting was named Gwen Savage. I got in a cab and spent my last $20 getting to her studio. Walked in, introduced myself. She freaked out because she was very nervous about how she was going to cast for the stand-in for Samuel Jackson. And I seemed to be perfect, but of course I would still have to meet his people who they also knew of me at the time. His stunt guy, Keontae, his Askia, his wardrobe specialist, trust me. They saw me when I came to the studio, and the rest is history. Now, I would work with Samuel on that project the Sunset Limited, directed by Tommy Lee Jones, and I will also do the first Avengers. I would also work for Denzel Washington on a couple of projects, including all of the Book of Eli, even the pre-casting of that. At the end of the day, you would think with that work alone, I would have no financial problems. But here's what I found out once I had already moved to New Mexico. The same work that I'm good at, that I was doing so well in New York City, that now I was getting a chance to do here in New Mexico, did not pay the SAG wage. Is not a union position in this state. And as a result, I made a third of what I would normally make as a stand-in. So I would work in these film jobs, go on unemployment, try to do the best I could with the unemployment. In some cases, I wrote a novel. I've recorded extra music. I've done everything I could do to better myself. After this last job of working with Peter Mensah on Midnight Texas, as I was on unemployment, I discovered they had a training portion that if you decided to go back to school, they would pay for your books and tuition. Remember that, books and tuition. So I said, you know what? I'm turning 62 on Tuesday the 16th, and I don't know if I have a lot of more, stamina for doing stand-in work, and especially work that isn't paying me well. Maybe I need to retrain. So I decided to take on that training opportunity, and I went back to school. You've seen all the blogs and posts about me being back in college, the re-education of Brother Eden. And the reason I started a GoFundMe and the reason I've been kind of asking for help is because they only pay books and tuition. And I know those of you who go to college just like, well, just take out these loans and just whatever, but I'm 62. Even if I wanted to take out all the money they would give me, the likelihood of me being alive to pay any of it back is slim to none. I mean, I'm just saying. My mother's living to be 90-something. God bless her. I pray I got 30 more years in me. At any rate, it would be foolish of me to take out really ridiculous loans. I'm doing the best I can. I'm still working for the property management company that I work for part-time. But because I only work part-time, then I only work just enough to pay my rent. So I've been living cashless for some time now. And I know that there's a means to an end, so I'm not complaining about that. I need to finish this degree. I had 83 hours at the University of Texas in Austin that was just sitting there dormant. I will probably have my degree in a year's time, this time next year, if I stay in full time and take full loads. The learning curve of doing everything online has been challenging, but I'm doing it. And so I have signed up to change my life. But I can't do it by myself. I really can't. And I feel sometimes like a slave trying to purchase his freedom. I swear I do. Because everyone gives you this great advice. Oh, you should just do this and you should just do that. And then they walk away. Benefactors are hard to come by because they want to see sometimes a particular behavior change or whatever. Here's what you should know about me. Clean and sober, 22 years, 23 come December if I stayed on path, and I don't see why I wouldn't. Basically celibate, I have a very, very special friend that doesn't live in this state, so at any rate, there's that. All I do is go to class, and I try to come home and focus on this homework. And I focus on it as much as I can, considering I can't do what I can't do, because I'm so distracted by the finances. So for my birthday on July 16th, Tuesday, please, if I've ever been a support, an encourager, if I've ever dropped a vlog that made you smile or laugh, I need your help. I need your help to stay the course and finish this fight. I'm not going to disappear into the desert and be by myself and be alone. I promise you I'm not. I have a lot of work to do, and there's a vision of exactly what I'm going to do when I'm finished with this degree at EdenInTheDesert.org. EdenInTheDesert.org. O-R-G. Go there, read the vision of Eden Does, and you will know exactly who I am. At the end of the day, I'm tired. I want to be able to do the one thing that I do well, which is focus again. But I cannot do it by myself. That's it. That's my truth, and I'm stepping into it full strength. I pray you'll be there with me and help as you can. There's links all over the place, but if you want to know exactly how to get it to me without going through one of the fundraiser sites or whatever, just DM me directly. I got through it, and I didn't get interrupted. God is good. Peace.